All right. Hello, everybody. I've got the late night team with me tonight. This is the late nighters. This is the serious people. These are the people who really want to grow who are here with me. So I love it. It's great to be with you. My name is Jim Winkler, and I'm going to get to talk tonight a little bit about the importance of our training system and our required trainings in particular. If you could do me a favor while everybody's coming on, where's everybody from that is on tonight in the chat? You could pop in and let me know where you guys are from while we're waiting for people to jump on. Oh, great. Linda from Michigan. Hey, Nikki or Vicky. Oh, wow. We got people from all over. So we've got Singapore, Taiwan, we've got Flushing, Ontario, we've got Malaysia, so we've got daytime, we've got nighttime. It is great to have all of you on with us tonight and or today, depending on what country you're in, and really appreciate you spending some time. I'm gonna move over and share my screen here in a minute. As I said before, my name is Jim Winkler. I probably know a lot of you. I'm Vice President of Sales for the company, as well as my wife and I have been UnFranchise owners for the, excuse me, the last 23 years with the company. So let's jump into it right away because I have a lot to cover, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight with the training. Good to see Perth on the line. Hi, Helen. Hi, Linda. Love you too. All right, here we go. So I'm going to move right over here. I'm going to move to the PowerPoint, and let's get this up and going. But like I said, great to have everybody on. These are the serious people, as I like to say. So today is the importance of required trainings, as we mentioned before, and why they are so important with what's going on. You know, I've always been a big believer in this. When I was looking at the business, one of the first things I saw was the fact that the company, and this was 23 years ago, they required people to take 3 trainings. And you know, you had to take that new distributor, and it was called new distributor at the time, and basic 5 before you've earned that second check. And then you had to take your ECCT by the time you'd earned 1,500 in commissions. You wanted to get that done in a very quick period of time. And immediately I thought, wow, I really love that this company puts such an importance on training, because that was part of my background, was training. And when I was looking at this company, I wanted to build a worldwide organization. And the only way you can build a worldwide organization is if people can be trained the same way in every place that the company's doing the business. And what's great right now is not only do we have our required trainings, but we've now got all of our Zoom trainings, which are broadcasting, you know, throughout the world. So we're all getting that same part of it. But to me, this really stepped up and said, okay, this is something we've got to take a look at, because there's a formula for building this business. Now, I'm going to use slides from different trainings to see how on top of it you guys are. This, of course, comes from our basic 5 training. So don't ask me for any slides, because they're all from our trainings, I think, except for maybe 2 or 3. But our basic 5 training says the formula is you've got to take time and have quality time. That will equal your group, and it has to be duplicatable, which will equal Bv and Ibv, which will equal dollar. Quality time equals duplicatable growth, which will equal volume, which will equal money. Now, so what is quality time? Well, quality time is spending time with go now people. What is duplicatable growth? Well, when I was brand new to the business and I was learning this, one of the first things that popped up in my mind was, I thought, okay, let's say that you have a left and a right side. On the left side of your business, you have 20 people. And those 20 people, they are great recruiters. They can go out, they can recruit, they bring people into business. But here's what they do. They say, you know what? Hey, just get involved and see what you can do. And don't worry about those trainings that, you know, Jim's always talking about. I mean, who wants to spend time learning how to do it? It's not that hard. Just trust me. Now, they each in a year, they bring in 3 people. So 20 brought in 3 each. That's a lot of people. On the other side, you've got 20 people. But those 20 people, what they do is they listen to you as you coach them. And when they bring people in, they get them trained. They take them to the NUOT and the B5, or they do it with them, or they get online making sure they're taking them right now. They get them to the ECCT as soon as they can. And they tell them you're not going to know everything as you're going through it, but you're going to go back through it with your new people. And as new people come in, they go back through it with their new people. At the end of a year, now the side with the 20 people, they're not as big recruiters as the people on the left side of your business. The right side, maybe they only recruit 2 people each or 1 person each. But let me ask you a question. At the end of year 2, which side of your business is going to be bigger? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The side on the left, where they didn't have people go to trainings, they didn't teach people what to do or how to do things, that side is going to completely fall apart. It's going to be destruction. Because if people don't know what to do, they will flounder and they will fail. The side that taught their people how to get trained, how to go to the NUOT, they went to the B5 with them, how to get through the ECCT, they didn't wait for them. That side is going to continue to grow, and it's going to expand exponentially because people know what to do. And I hope you understand what I was just talking about, because that's the way I've always viewed the business. I would rather have 10 people who know what to do and will do it and put the effort in than 30 who think they know what to do but don't train people how to do it the right way, because they will fall apart and they just cause destruction, and they actually give us a bad name because they bring people in under false pretenses. This is a real business and you have to treat it like a real business. So people say, Jim, but why do we have to have required trainings? Well, why do we have to do anything? Well, you know, why do we have to have a driver's license? So we don't get in a car and run people over and break laws. Why do we have to have a required training? So we know what to do. So as we bring people in, we can teach them. What is our training system called? What is our business compensation system called? It's called the Management Performance Training, Management Performance Compensation Plan. And that's really, really important for everybody to understand, because management is part of helping your team knowing what to do. So why do we have it? Because it decreases the chance of failure. We want to give everybody the best shot in the world at succeeding. And if you don't require people to do something, a lot of people will do what? They'll do nothing. So by requiring it, we know we're giving them at least the first basics that they need. I've never believed that going once to a training is enough. I think you need to go over. And I've always taught in my personal team, you go to trainings until you're good enough to do the trainings. And that's really the way I believe, but you go back with your new people. So you're always, because you always look at it differently when you have a fresh set of eyes on it from somebody else. So that's why we require them, so people know what to do and they fulfill their management performance compensation program. When should my people go to trainings? Now, there's different philosophies on this. Some people say, well, I don't want them to get overwhelmed. There's a lot in the NUOT, which I agree. There is a lot with it. So I'm going to give you what I believe, because that's all I can train on is what I believe and what I've done. I would like to get my people through the trainings as fast as I can. And I'm going to tell you why, because I don't plan on it being a one and done type thing. I want to get them there over and over again, especially now while we're doing so much through Zoom or on our back office where you can do it. Why not get your people to take the training and then take another one with a different trainer, then take another one with it, so that they're hearing it 2 or 3 times as they're bringing in new people, or even as they're new. And you're going to have a big jump start. Before we were doing everything, you know, because of the sequestering here and the quarantining, before we were doing it, when we were doing live trainings in person, I would ask the people on my team that were coming to the training, I want you to take the video training first, because Dennis and I have done I've done the NUOT, and Dennis and I did the B5 trainings, where you can watch each segment live on YouTube. And I'd say watch it first, because then when you come to the training, you'll have more questions and it'll make sense hearing it the second time. So I think it's really important to understand you want to get your people trained. The faster they know things, the better. We don't want to stop, but don't do this. So let me make sure I clarify everything I say, because sometimes people think, well, I got to get my people trained before they talk to people. No, wrong. We want our people talking to people. We want them getting customers. We want them getting people on Zoom presentations, to see business presentation as fast as possible. But we want them getting trained as well. Not one or the other, but both. The most important thing we can do with a new person is not get them to training. The most important thing is to get them customers. Base 10, 7 strong. The most important thing we can do is get them to get people in front of the business. The evaluation approach, as we always talk about, even before they've started. Then we're going to get them going on trainings at the same time. You don't have to do one or the other. Could I go to a training tomorrow night for a new UnFranchise owner training, yet have on Saturday Zoom, maybe my senior partner's doing a Zoom business presentation, and I can invite 8 people. I can do one night, and I can do one another day. I can be doing both in together. It's going to make sense, because actually the trainings make sense when you're doing things even better. So let's jump in. What I'm gonna do right now, because I'm telling you how important I think they are, I'm gonna give you a snippet of a couple of these. So let's talk about the NUOT, and I'm gonna talk about a couple different things like monthly required trainings that we need, or monthly required criteria. These 3 trainings, as I've mentioned, you can take over and over and over again. We've got them on the back office. We've got them on YouTube. We've got them on Zoom. If you go to the GMTSS right now, you can look and see NUOTs being done all across the world that you have the ability to participate and be able to take. Now, the new UnFranchise owner training, I'm going to explain this in a Winklerism, the way I say things. That teaches you what to do to protect your business so you don't screw things up, so you don't flush, so you don't purge. A basic 5 teaches you how to build your business the correct way. How do you build it for the long run? So one's protecting what you're building, and the executive coordinator certification training is so that you can teach your people the rules. So those are the 3 ways I look at the trainings that we do to be able to take. So let's talk about an NUOT. It's an introduction to the business. It talks about those systems to operate and manage our business. It's terminology. There's a lot of terminology. There's policies or requirements. It covers our compensation plan and ensures baseline knowledge and strategies for success. So I've taken a few slides out, as I mentioned. Let's talk about a couple of these. Well, the monthly accrual option, which is satisfied by UnFranchise AutoShip. By the way, when I train in NUOT, I always tell people, you know, if you do a couple basic things, most of the stuff we train on, you never have to worry about, guys. Like what? Like if people are on AutoShip, why do you bring people in and not put them on AutoShip? It's ridiculous. It makes your business so much harder to run. If someone told me I'm not going to go on AutoShip, I'd say you're not ready for the business at this point, because it doesn't come to the 3rd month. I'm going to have, if you work with me the right way, we're going to have customers going and doing things. So we want to make sure that we get people set up right. Don't just have them register and then you're not helping them with the AutoShip. You're not doing the things. Then you're not doing your job as a senior partner. You need to set them up for success the correct way. So the monthly accrual option, make sure that we have a certain amount of BV that's going into the 001 personal business volume. If it's someone who hasn't earned a check, how much is it? It's 50 BV, right? So if they have not earned a check yet, what have we got? We have 50 BV they have to put in their 001. If they've earned their first $300 commission, that jumps to 100 BV. And if they've earned and completed being an executive coordinator, earned their $600 check and the commission check, that goes to 150 BV. Now, how high does that go if you're a national supervising coordinator? Stays at 150. How high does it go if you're a director? Stays at 150. How high does it go if you're field vice president? Stays at director. So here's what I'm saying. Here's the way it's set up. As a new UnFranchise owner, you got to have some products to move and use. That's 50 BV. By the time you hit coordinator, we assume you're using more and you're retailing more. That's 100 BV. By the time you hit executive coordinator, you've got an organization, you're using more, you're retailing more, that's 150. And that's as high as it goes, no matter how high you go in the business and no matter how many centers you have over time. Think about this concept. Your income will continue to increase, but your BV that is required will not. What an incredible thing to have when you're running a business. It's the same way with our IBV as well. From an IBV standpoint, if you haven't earned a commission, it's 10 IBV. If you've earned your first 300, it's 20 IBV. If you've earned your first 600 in IBV, it's 30 IBV. So those really take good care of what we're doing from a standpoint of very minimal to be able to participate in the program. Do that. Of course, with our BV, we need to make sure we have a subscription to UFMS. Why wouldn't you? I mean, what is it? $22. I think it's $22 a month, which is $5.50 US. Make sure you've got everything you need to run your business. I mean, again, that's incredible from an amount you're paying to run. It's like a virtual assistant for $5.50 a week. And then, of course, for IBV, and this is important, all your new people need to make sure they complete the shopping annuity assessment right when they start. So we want to get them to do that right off the bat. Okay, so these are pretty simple, especially if you set up auto ship the right way, right? What's the difference between personal volume and group volume? Personal volume is the volume that's placed and flows up as group volume later on. So example, if this person here has 200 BV in this 001, like we see right here, that 200 for them is personal volume. It doesn't count towards commissions. But because there's volume that flows up, that volume will count for their sponsor as group volume. So here's an easy way to think of it. Personal volume is anything that goes in your 001. What are the only things that go in our 001? It's our initial qualifying volume and it's our auto ship. Those are the only things that ever go in our 001. Everything else we're going to place down below into our own 2, our own 3, or the person we've designated, and that will come up to us as group volume. So even if you're placing an order for 500 BV, if you place that order down below into your teammate that you've designated, if this is Ed here, that volume comes to your 2, it comes back to 1. Even though you placed it, it's still group volume coming up because you were able to place it down. The only thing that's personal volume is what goes into your 001, and that does not accrue, obviously. But it does as it goes up to your senior partner. Now, where can you find your personal volume that you have? You can go in and you can look under our reports under personal volume report. And this is important to understand where it is and what it is. When do you need to use this? This is a report you need to now look at if you're wondering if someone has met their 50, 100, or 150 in personal volume for that month. And it'll show right here. You can do it by center. So you got to make sure it's in the 01. You can do it by BV or IBV, but it will show you exactly. Now, I think we all know what a good flush is. A good flush is when the business clears the pay cycle and you've earned that $600 commission. There's a potential for a weekly green flush, and BV and IBV work independently. They don't flush because one flushes. They both don't go away. They work independently of each other. Volume, if it's removed, is usually about 13 days after a flush. That once it's completed that pay cycle. But let's focus on this bad flush for a minute because I'm giving you a couple highlights from these trainings. Well, a bad flush would reset everything down to 0. And how do you usually get a bad flush? It's because you didn't do your monthly amount you were supposed to do. Now, again, what's my monthly amount? Well, for BV, it's either 50, it's either 100, or it's 150. Depending on my level in the business. If you did not purchase your UFMS and you did not place your 50, 100, 150 BV into your 001 during the had to be done, then your business is going to red flush. A red flush affects you. It does not affect your organization. It does not affect your sponsor. It affects you because you lose all your volume. So how do I protect against a red flush? I put my things on auto ship. I'm dumbing down the business because I don't want to. Right now it's you and you're thinking I can handle it. I always built this business as if eventually it was going to be 100 people on my left and 100 people on my right. And I've got to have a duplicatable system, and people are going to do what I do, not what I say. And I can say it, they should be on auto ship. If I'm not on auto ship, they won't do it. So I went on auto ship. From my first month, I've never been off auto ship. I don't understand why people don't do it, especially nowadays, because in the olden days, to change it, you had to mail something in. Nowadays, you can just go on the computer. If you want different products, go on and update it right there. So this, again, nobody wants to have a flush because it'll flush your personal BDCs, whether it's your 1, your 2, it doesn't affect your senior partners. Our lifespan of BV is 365 days from the date of the order. So that means volume is going to keep accumulating as long as you are meeting your monthly requirement. Remember, leap years have 366 days. And then anything, once you get to 366 on a normal year, that volume will start to wipe away, but only what's over 365 days old. You still get to keep everything from the last 365 days. Auto ship, again, everybody bring in auto ship. I'm going to say this 6 times tonight because I want you to understand the important things out of this. In order on auto ship, and make sure you take care of the monthly accrual option. You don't have to worry about it. You can pick and choose what you want on there. It's invoiced 17 days prior to the end of the monthly Q date period that you have, and they can be changed as needed, but change it by Friday before the Tuesday that they ship, and this will make sure that you maintain your monthly requirements that you need to do. It prevents against a red flush. The company's done everything it can to make this easy for you. You got a calendar widget, which will tell you exactly when it's going to pull. You'll know exactly how much it is, so that it makes it really simple for you. You can put more than one credit card or debit card on file, and I recommend this for everybody. Again, I'm idiot proofing our business so that if something happens to your card, great example, last night my wife was placing an order for something and her card got compromised. Okay, so her card was compromised. When her card was compromised, what happened is, of course, that card was immediately no good. Well, if that was our card that was on our auto ship, and it's the only one we had, and our auto ship, by the way, pulled yesterday, it would have caused a problem. But we didn't have a problem because we've got 3 cards on there, because we know if we forget to change the date of expiration, or if it gets compromised, or if anything happens, I want to have a second one that it has the ability to take and use. So again, if I'm on auto ship and I have 2 cards on, I'm probably going to make sure I get everything I need to every time I need to. Excuse me. And you can see the first card will be attempted twice. The second card will be attempted once. Each attempt is a separate day. So we're trying to make sure if there's any problem at all, you're going to get it. If it fails, you're going to have to place a manual order into your 001 if this auto ship fails. Now, again, if you have 2 cards on, you're probably going to be okay. If it does fail, here's what I want to remind you. Remember, when you put your Bv and Ibv on, to add your UFMS. That would be the #1 mistake I see people make, is they'll put the Bv and Ibv, but they forgot UFMS. So your auto ship should always have UFMS on it. That's, again, your monthly management system. That $22 should always be on there, so you never have to think about it. If your auto ship doesn't go 2 months in a row, well, then unfortunately what happens is that it'll be canceled and you will have to reset it to be able to do that. You can look on a qualification report, and a lot of people don't know how to read this, so I'm just going to take a second. Again, I love our reports. If you know them, it makes your business so great. The qualification report shows the next order date for your auto ship. So if you weren't looking at your widget, you could look at that, and it shows your status, and it shows how much your current accrual is. So here it was 150 and 30, and here it says T. So if we look up here, T says the person is on UnFranchise auto ship. You want it to say T. If it's new, if you see an N, that means maybe I've got a new person, they've set it up, but at this point they haven't, there hasn't been a pull yet on it. If you see a W, it means there's a warning. It pulled correctly, has pulled correctly previously, but failed the last time. So something went wrong, so it's missing once. If you see an H, it's on hold. That means that something's going wrong with that auto ship. A B means it didn't pull on the first attempt, and an X is what you don't want to see. An X means it has been canceled. So when you go to qualification report, right here under UF auto ship status, what are we looking for? We're looking for the T. Looking for the T. That's what we want to have, or the N at the worst. Anything else means we could be having problems. It's a great report to be able to look at and be able to check any of your teammates and see if there's anything that they need. As you look at your auto ship, a couple things we want to make sure that we do. One is our excess Bv and Ibv placement. We want to make sure we put our own centers in there. I'm going to give you guys Winkler's rule again. You know, we all get to, as we sponsor somebody, we get to place volume into their business if that's the person we pick, our one person per quarter, right? I don't put volume into anybody unless they have proven they're doing a Form 1000 first. Why? Because if I put a whole, I'm a big retailer, Lisa and I are. If we put a bunch of volume into somebody and that person purges, what happens is we lose all the volume we placed into that person. So why would I put volume in a person that may or may not do their Form 1000? What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that new person in. Let's get a product show going. Let's do a Zoom where you get 10, 15 people on. I'm going to talk about products. We're going to tell them how to order on your site. We'll give them a discount for coming on tonight. We're going to get you orders, and we're going to do your Form 1000 in the first 10 days. That's the person I'm going to put volume into because I know the Form 1000 has been done. I don't have to worry about anything for almost 5 months. Hope that made sense. For my own excess Bv and Ibv placements, I'm going to initially put my own centers until I have somebody who's good enough and is doing their retailing to be able to do that. I'm going to make sure to enable my accrual protection. What accrual protection does, that's right down here, you want to make sure that's checked, is that says if you earn your first check, it'll take that 50 you have and it'll double it to 100 if you forget to change it. If you get to 150, it'll double that to make sure. So basically, it's protecting you. It's like free insurance to make sure you're protected in your business. That's what an accrual protection is. So you'll want that for each person in your business as well, because you don't want them to earn a check and then not have the correct BV amount in there as they do it. All right, so those were some monthly requirements. Let's talk about quarterly and annual. And this is where I think this business is so simple. What are we going to do quarterly? We're going to retail $200 of products. Come on, guys. Get 2 retail receipts. If you're not retailing, why are you in our business? We're a product distribution company that moves products. So $200 and says, I want you to do that. I don't want you to wait until the last week to do that. I want you to get that done the first week, the second week, the third week. Don't hesitate. Let's get sales going. You know, retail drives the business, and you submit a Form 1000 every quarter by 11/59 of the day it's due. Again, I don't want you to wait that long. Get it done in the first month. I'll tell you the truth. When I have people who show up on my Purge report, meaning they're within 30 days, I always think those are the people who don't really care about their business. Because why would you let your $1 million business get within 30 days of purging, where if something happened, you could forget about it? I want to make sure that they are getting it done as fast as possible. I hope that makes sense, everybody. I hope everybody understood why. Now, if people are buying on the Market America websites, if you're driving them to your site to buy, that retail requirement is going to be taken care of automatically. You don't even have to think about it. My retail requirement, because my customers shop online, every one of them is typically taken care of. I shouldn't say every one of them. I've got about 3 that don't. But I've got hundreds that do now, is taking care of the first week of my new quarter. And I get an email that says your Form 1000 has been taken care of because you've already done $200 in retail receipts. Now, I've been doing the business a while, and I've emphasized on retailing, as you should, because you're going to expand your business and you're going to move products. You got to do both. What else do we have to do? We have to make sure we do at least a minimum of 150 BV per quarter in your 001 with you as the paying ID. Now, I got to say something. I'm going to go back to simplistic. If you're on auto ship and you're even doing 50 BV a quarter, it's going to automatically take care of the 50 a month. It's going to automatically take care of the 150 a quarter. What is so hard about this? Auto ship takes care of the monthly. Auto ship takes care of the quarterly. And again, your first quarter, you only have to do 50 BV if you want to. But again, guys, so many of you coach on minimums. It drives me nuts because I don't know about you. I want to earn a maximum income, not a minimum income. So why don't we do more? Why don't we move more product? Why don't we make sure we get things done right away? Why don't we do it right? That's the best way to really take care of this. The third step, again, you talk about simple. What do we have to do? We have to do a renewal at the end of every year for $99.95 for regular UFO, $129.95 for HP or HP1s. And no fee, of course, for sales reps, and they're not participating in the compensation plan, and they don't have any websites. You do have to pay your own annual renewal fee, and it's non-refundable. So I'm going to talk about these three things really quick now. Where's the Form 1000? Well, you can see right there, if you go to My Account, Online Forms, Form 1000. Then you look at it, it says requirement not met. You should check your own when we're done with this training tonight. If you haven't done it, you get a warning email, by the way, 30 days before. You should also have your notifications turned on under My Account to get text messages. So you'll get a text notification that you need to do it as well. So the company's trying to help you out. The senior partners are looking on their purge reports. I understand life gets busy. I understand we have a lot going on and there's a stressful time right now. So let's keep the business simple and get everything done fast. If you had it done because people ordered online, you're going to receive an email like this saying, we're pleased to inform you that your system identified enough receipts to satisfy the minimum requirements. How many people would like to have that? I think everybody. So here's what we're going to do. We keep working to get that going. And we go back and we look to our Form 1000, and now it says requirement met. When it's green and it says requirement met, you know you're good. If it's red and it says requirement not met, it means your sales aren't showing up yet. So that takes care of the Form 1000. With an annual renewal, what do we need to do? We need to log in, we need to go to the annual renewal, and we need to opt in. We need to make sure, again, our credit card's on there because we can have multiple credit cards on there. Make sure you have at least two so that for some reason you forget the expiration date, didn't work on one, you've got another one that will go. And again, have all your people opt in on this. This is where when you register somebody, you don't just register them. You sit, you go through the Getting Started Guide, and you go through making sure the registration, that they're doing the correct things, and you explain to them why, because you're the coach, you're the mentor, you're the one who's going to lead them to success. Even if you're pretty new, if you know what to do, you got to tell them how to do it right or get another teammate on with you. So again, here you go under My Account, you go down to account auto renewal options. It's under account settings, auto renewal options, and you opt in with that, and that'll take care of that. Let's talk about purging. Okay, if somebody purges, what happens? It means we didn't meet our quarter or our annual requirements. So we didn't do what? We didn't do our Form 1000, or we didn't do our 150 BV a quarter, or we didn't do our annual renewal. I just showed you how easy it is to do those. What happens if you purge? If you purge, different from flushing, you lose the volume in your 001. That's the same, right? You're going to lose the volume in your 001. You're going to lose all the volume that's accumulated up on your left and your right side. And you're not qualified now because you lost your 200 BV in your 001, which means if you're not qualified, you don't count for your sponsor as a qualified business partner. So again, you don't ever want to purge. And again, I showed you how simple it is not to purge, but you don't ever want to. And also, if you purge, you lose all of your group volume, your personal volume, and you have to re-qualify your center. Now, there's a purge warning report, again, right on your reports. These reports, again, I'm just going to say it, they're fantastic. Kudos to our team that does so much work on these. I know Chris Petticord and Gene Wallace, the people who work on this, they do a great job. But you can change this cutoff date. You can make it a month out. You can make it a week out. You can click affected. Affected shows you what's going to affect you. I don't usually click affected because I'm not worried about what's going to affect me. I'm worried about what's going to affect my teammates that are below me. I want to make sure I'm helping protect them. Now, I'm going to give you a simple, again, a Winkler's rule. Every Tuesday, I have something on my phone. It goes off as a notification. It says to me, hey, go check your purge reports. So if I check on Tuesday, I look 1 week out, I look to Friday. If there's somebody on there, I have time to pop them a text, send them a message, do something to say, hey, you need to get your Form 1000 taken care of or you're going to purge on Friday. And, you know, with everything going on in life, sometimes people miss that. I may give them a call at a different time, say, hey, let's work on getting this done right away so we don't have to worry about this every quarter. Again, coaching, mentoring, helping your teammates as you do it. But don't expect they should know to just do everything. Guys, management performance compensation plan. I'm going to say it 100 times. We get paid to help our teammates succeed, to manage our teammates, to work with them, not to sign them up and see what they end up doing. That's multi-level marketing. It makes me sick. We run a business and we do it the right way. And I want to make sure you guys all are doing this the right way. And that means for me, every Tuesday, I take a look. If I look down here, I see Charlie Brown has something due, then I'm going to send Charlie a text or his senior partner and let his senior partner know that. Now, I want to show you a couple really cool things when you look at this. One is it says why. Why are they on the report? Well, a B means they don't have enough BV, and F means they haven't done the Form 1000. So James Brown here, he doesn't have enough BV. If you look over here, he's supposed to be doing 150, but he's got 0. So he doesn't have a Form 1000 listed. So he's going to purge because he hasn't done either one. So he would have to do both before the 17th. Now, Charlie Brown, it only says F. Why? Because he's done 300 BV. It shows us his requirement is 150. But his last Form 1000 was done a quarter ago. So he needs to do a new one. So that's as simple as making sure he's made his sales. Dr. Dre here, you can look. And this is one that confuses people a lot. Dr. Dre did his Form 1000, but he doesn't have enough BV in his 001. He has 100 when he needs 150 every quarter. So he shows up as a B when we have to let him know he's got to put 50 BV in his 001. Great job doing your Form 1000, Dr. Dre, but you got to put 50 more BV because you got to do a minimum of 150 a quarter. Again, he never has a problem with that if he's on auto ship because it's taken care of automatically. The last example down here would be John Deere. Now, John Deere is showing a B and an F. Why? Well, he obviously hasn't done his Form 1000. He's new. That's why it says only 50 on there. But he's only done 40. So because he's new, he's only done 40 of the 50. He's got to get 10 more in his 01. Again, how the heck does this happen if you are actually on auto ship and taking care of it the right way? You never have these problems. It never shows up. Down below the quarterly purge report is our annual purge information. So here's what happens. If somebody gets within 5 days of the month they came into business. So for me, I start my Q date's August 29th, I think. So my month would be August 1st. If I'm not opted in correctly, meaning I have a credit card that's going to work 5 days before August 1st, when they go to try to pull that, then I'm not opted in. I'm going to show up on this report, and that means I'm going to have to send in a paper form to the company. What a pain in my rear if I have to do that, right? Nobody likes doing paper and mailing it in. So how do we take care of it? One, we make sure they're opted in. You say, well, Jim, this guy's opted in. Why is he showing up on the report? I'm going to tell you why Charlie Brown's on the report, because Charlie Brown probably had one credit card on file and he forgot to change the expiration date. So because he didn't have two and a second one to go to, it didn't work, or he didn't change the expiration date on his first one. Calvin Klein here is opted in because he has to do a paper one because he's not opted in. Again, huge mistake. Why wouldn't you just Boom, boom, boom. Let it happen the way it should rather than having to send in a paper form and do all the work with that. So here are the reasons you can purge: not submitting a unfranchised owner sales report, not placing 150 BV in your 001, and not submitting an annual renewal by the end of the start month. If you do purge, what you do is you requalify. By the way, if you purge all your businesses. So if you're getting paid on 3, you purge 3. If you're paid on 1, you purge 1. What do you do after a purge? You requalify with 200 BV. You have to do a new Form 1000 for any of the centers you're earning commissions on. And if it's for lack of non-renewal, you have to submit a paper application with late renewal with your 200 BV, and you'll get a new Q date. So again, keep it simple. Don't run into these things, and you'll have no problems. All this one shows you the difference between a purge and a flush. A flush is monthly, a purge is quarterly or annually. A monthly occurs for the reasons we talked about. A purge occurs because of the reasons we went through, quarterly or annually. Here on a flush, the group volume resets. On a purge, the group and personal volume resets. A flush doesn't affect your senior partners. A purge affects your senior partners because they lose any volume they've placed into you, or they lose any volume that you've placed that they haven't completed the pay cycle on yet. So think about that. If you put a whole bunch of volume in somebody and you haven't completed the pay cycle since you did that and they purge, you lose all that volume. That's why I say I don't put volume into somebody I personally sponsored until I know that they are going to do a Form 1000 right off the bat. And I've got that. They've proven to me they're a consistent performer in doing that. A red flush does not affect qualification status. A purge does. You lose qualification. So that affects your sponsor too. In a flush, a purge starts to accumulate the next day with no action needed. With a purge, you got to requalify 200 BV. A red flush does not affect a sponsor's activation status. A purge, it does affect. And a flush does not apply to unqualified UFOs or sales reps because they don't accrue volume. And purges, everybody can purge. Sales reps can purge in your business, which is really a pain because they don't really care as much if they're not even willing to pay $129.95. You think they're going to make sure they do the requirements. So let's keep this simple. Go on, and this is how I train exactly at the new UnFranchise training. Go on UnFranchise Auto Ship and put all your people on it. Be on auto renewal and make sure all your people are on it. Have your customers ordering from shop.com and become a power retailer, move products, and then continue attending events and trainings. I just gave you a touch of a new unfranchised owner training and what is covered, but how important is that for your new people to be able to see? There's so much more that's covered than what I went through, but I hit some of the highlights so you know it. Now, when we're building an organization, now we're talking about the basic 5. You know, and there's 5 things we need to do. We need to be good at all these. It's not called the basic 4. It's not called the basic 3, or the maybe I'll try 2. It is the basic 5, and they all are so valuable to what you do. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of these and give you a whole training. You can watch it live. You can go and watch it on YouTube, Market America YouTube station if you want to. But what I'm going to tell you is you need to become proficient in training this, in attending it, in going with your people. You know, I'm a big believer, the best way to become good at something is to actually have to teach it. And I think a lot of you would probably agree with me. You know, you can teach this. When you become an executive coordinator, you can teach this to one of your new people. And that will count towards their basic 5 training if you want to be able to do that. And by teaching it, you will get better at it because you have to prepare. Really, what we're talking about when we're talking about the basic 5, we're teaching you about residual income. And the big thing that pops out is how do we trade, you know, time for money versus creating ongoing money. And you look at the linear income versus ongoing. And I think this speaks for itself. You know, if work stops, your income stops. Ongoing income, the income continues. You're not creating true wealth with a linear income. You're creating true wealth because wealth is time. A linear income, time's not your own. On an ongoing income, it's complete and total time freedom. On a linear income, you make a living. People say, I make a good living. How about making a great life? instead. And that's what an ongoing income is. It's creating a lifestyle and making a great life. And those are some of the things we'll talk about in a basic 5. Now, a basic 5, is that something we should attend over and over? I think it's so important that we attend our basic 5s and we go back with our people. You know, again, until you can teach it and until you're good at it, how many times do you need to see it? I look at some of the people in my organization, a multi-million-dollar earner like Lynn Mitchke, who went to 12 basic 5s in her first year. She went to 12 NUOTs. People say, wow, that's a lot. You know, trainings are 3 or 4 hours each. Yeah, but she was building towards a professional income, not a I'm a goofing around income. Does that make sense? Now, you don't have to do 12, but could you do 1 a quarter? That's what it takes to hit Master UFO. 1 a quarter, you should be doing at a minimum. And I'll tell you right now, while you're sequestered, why not hear some of the different trainers who are doing them? I think it's a great thing. I want to make sure we keep the main thing, because I've been talking about required trainings, but there's a lot of different, you know, people always say, well, are the seminars required? Are the major events required? You know, no, they're not required unless you want to be successful. How's that? That's beautiful, isn't it? Unless you want to truly build a 6-figure ongoing income, then yes, the bigger events are required. Then yes, the local seminars are a must. Then yes, the extra trainings are something you need to go to. And I've always believed a ticket, or now it would be a Zoom presentation, is a ticket to freedom. Because you need to be able to get there. And I treat it very serious. No magic moments have ever occurred watching Netflix. Nobody ever said, wow, changed my whole life and now I'm going to go really build my business. You know when it occurs? It's when you're sitting at an event or when you're watching something on Zoom and you're just entranced with it and it's keeping you going and you're saying, wow, I'm catching this now. I'm really getting it. So one person attending one event can change everything. I've seen this over the years where someone who is doing almost nothing in the business, we work and we get them to watch something. And I hope you guys are working to get your people to watch some of these Zoom events. Not just, by the way, not just sending an email, not just posting it on your Facebook, but sending a private text, sending a message, calling them up. Guys, you know, just throwing something on Facebook, that's just damn lazy. You know, yes, you're showing it's going on, but you need to communicate on a personal basis with your people if you want them to have a personal relationship with you. And you do, because this is a personal business, right? And if you care about people, you're going to do that. And you always come from a position of love and caring. You know, I reached out earlier this year. You can see a bunch of names on here, and some of you may be on here or on there. But I sent a personal text to every one of these people to come to a seminar in January. And you know the reason I did it? Because I care about them, because I wanted them there, because I know by being there that it's going to be better for them. And when I did it, I keep track of this when I do it. Did they say yes? Did I have to mail them a ticket? Have they paid me yet? Because I don't consider anything done until they pay me. I don't send a ticket until I have money in hand. And this gives me, it keeps me accurate on what I'm doing. But I'm very serious about making sure I know who's at an event on my left, who's at an event on my right, who's missing. And, you know, we can move tickets at any time, or we can get people on a Zoom presentation at any time. You know, after someone sees the plan, what a great thing to say, hey, we've got a Zoom presentation Wednesday night with the owner of our company. I would love for you to see JR writing or share his thoughts about residual income. You can do it after the UBP when you talk to somebody and you follow up. You can do it at a registration. All these ways are great. Calling stable and waiting people is a huge way to do it. And reaching out and doing it, again, from a position of love and caring. It's not, hey, why aren't you there? You should be doing stuff. It's, hey, I was thinking about you. I would love to have you jump on and see what's going on and see one of these trainings, because it really is making a big difference. And, you know, you've heard the saying before, no tickets, no money. It is so true. No tickets, no money. Nobody on Zoom, no money. Nobody watching and learning anything, no money. So it's duplication, and we want to have duplicatable things as we're building the business. Let's look at it this way. The person with the most people at an event or on the Zoom is going to win. So tonight, you know, we've got hundreds of people on here tonight. Someone may have really worked at it. Maybe they got 10 people on the event. So that person's getting 10 hours of work in one night because they have 10 people on the event. The person with the most people creates the most working hours, whether it's at a local seminar, whether it's on a Zoom event, whatever it may be. You're creating working hours, and that's where these required trainings and now our optional trainings become so important. Look at it, one seminar a day. If someone goes to a seminar and they spend 8 hours, hey, I'm getting 8 hours of work. I did a great job. I showed up. But what if you go there and you have 9 people with you? So there's a total of 10. Now you got 80 hours. And now you're getting compensated on 80 hours of work. You're still only there for 8, but now you're getting 80. What if you have 100 people and everybody's there 8 hours? Now you got 800 hours going into your business. How do you think that business is going to do the next week, the next month, the next quarter? You know, our goal, we've got international convention coming up. Everybody should be setting goals on getting people there. But imagine if you had 100 people at an international convention. There's 30 hours of training during the weekend from JR, from Lauren, from Dennis, from Kevin, from Mark, from all of our top trainers across the world. Well, if you had 100 people, that'd be 3,000 hours going into your business in one weekend. I want you to think about that. Average person works about 2,000 hours a year. You get a year and a half of their life of work in one weekend because you made it your culture for your team to show up for every event, to be on the Zooms, to be doing the things they're supposed to be doing to growing. You made sure they went to the NUOT and the B5 and the ECCT where they learned to train their people, and you had everybody doing that with them. I'm going to go back to our formula here, and this was the formula I learned from JR a long time ago. Quality time equals duplicatable growth equals volume equals income. Duplicatable growth is going to happen when you get your people to the trainings. Do what everybody can do, and you can let other people do the work for you to do it. Yes, we want to get people to everything we do. The more they learn, the better. And always, always keep a focus on result-producing activities on top of your required training. So what are the result-producing activities? Moving products to end consumers, getting people in front of the plan to evaluate it, and having them bring more people. Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I hope this was helpful for you. I enjoyed giving this training. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. Let's do something positive in our lives. Let's share this great business with people. Let's get more people educated and trained. Take care, and I can't wait to the day I can see everybody again in person and give you either a big handshake or a big hug, and we'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.